Hello, my name is Christopher Holtby, co-founder of Wealth Advisors Trust Company. Today we're going to talk about South Dakota trust law, which generally is boring, but I have a few things to spice it up and to give you guys a lot of choices that you never thought of before. So the one thing to remember is you're sitting somewhere in the United States. It could be Alaska, it could be Tennessee, it could be Iowa. You're sitting in front with your estate attorney and they're drafting a will or a trust. It could be irrevocable or a grantor or a charitable trust. And they immediately put in that state that you live in, Iowa. But did you know that you could use any state in the country? There's really 6 states that have the best trust laws: Tennessee, Delaware, New Hampshire, South Dakota, Nevada, and Alaska. Kind of Wyoming. Let me give you a little hint. A secret. People don't want you to know. All 7 of them, they're all the same. Few little differences that you got to be a crazy, nitpicky attorney to tell the difference. But any one of those states have the exact same benefits and the best trust laws. So let's break them down. The first part is the trust can last forever. For some of you, that may not be important because forever is a long time. Most trusts limit you to 100 years plus 21 years after the last person's death. But if you want that flexibility and it has no extra cost, why not? Second thing, this is a big one, trusts that can separate who does what. So normally, let's say you're in Kansas. The corporate trustee in Kansas will make all the decisions, distributions and investments, the whole kit and caboodle. Well, in states like South Dakota, for example, where we're based, you can separate in a directed trust who is going to manage the investments and who is going to make the distribution decisions. And the best part is, the corporate trustee doesn't do any of it. So if you think about the greatest amount of control and choice that you want in a trust, distributions and investments, you can give that to other people. It could be a financial advisor, it could be a committee of family members for distributions. Bottom line is, whoa, you have choices. Again, attorneys don't always tell you about these choices. And if they do, they make it really complicated, like reading Charles Dickens. Oy, you want it John Steinbeck. Nice and simple. Third thing, no state income tax. If you're in a state like Oklahoma or Virginia or California, they're going to tax you every which way on Sunday. States like South Dakota, there's no state income tax and no state capital gains tax. There's not even a state death tax. So it's really cost efficient. There's also some benefits around life insurance costs. It's almost free there also, but no point getting into that. Fourth thing, privacy. Some of you want to have your trust private so that no one knows anything about it, especially those that you don't want your beneficiaries to know they're going to have a trust, so they don't run into that whole trust fund baby thing thinking, woohoo, 35, I get $5 million. You don't want them to know until they know. Pros and cons. But if you want that flexibility, you have it in South Dakota. And you only have it for the first 2 years in Delaware and Nevada. So that's a big difference for South Dakota. But again, do you want that flexibility? So the next big difference between why states like South Dakota or Nevada or Delaware have a great advantage is asset protection trusts. They're also called self-settled trusts, one and the same. Here's what's really important. They protect you in the case of a lawsuit. They're not going to protect you from the federal government. If they want you, and that's the end of the story. But in case of creditors or ex-spouses, asset protection trusts in South Dakota give you a great hurdle of protection. Anyone who tells you is a guarantee, they're wrong. It's a hurdle. Now, I'm going to tell you something that no one in my industry wants you to know. The best asset protection, even though it costs more, is life insurance. Don't hire us. Use life insurance. Better case law. It protected Ken Lay from Enron, and God knows he should have lost all his money. So for asset protection, yes, South Dakota is great, but frankly, life insurance is even better. One other big thing, decanting. That's a fancy name of saying, hey, I can make changes to a trust. Normally in a state like Washington or Alabama, no disrespect to them, but their courts and their judges just aren't used to thinking in a very flexible, creative way with changes to a trust. South Dakota, they're all about being creative and innovative. So the judges and the court systems allow you to make really important changes. You obviously can't very easily add or take away beneficiaries or really reduce their distributions. That gets kind of tricky for all sorts of reasons, but that's a big benefit, is the decanting laws, the ability to make changes. Now here's something also important to remember. When you go and buy ice cream, let's say you go to Baskin Robbins. Do you go to Baskin Robbins because they have one flavor? No. You go because they have 31 flavors. Trust law is no different. When you walk into your estate attorney's office and they're creating the will or the revocable trust or some other trust, and they will write somewhere near the bottom, the governing law is Illinois, or it's Pennsylvania, or it's Ohio. That's great. But ask them, hey, I want to make sure that my beneficiaries or me have more choices. Actually, you have 51 choices. There's 51 states in America, so you have more choices than Baskin Robbins. And all you have to do is tell them this simple sentence: allow the trustee to change the governing law without a court order or judge approval or beneficiary approval for situs and trust administration. That's it. They don't even have to name the state. You get to choose the state. So again, South Dakota trust law is all about control and choice. These are the major factors of why it's a leading trust state, but I gave you the 6 that are all good. Let us know how we can help. Thank you so much.